Hi, very good. Welcome in my online classroom, the Excellence Learner. And today I am here with a poem, The Road Not Taken. The poem Road Not Taken is written by Robert Frost. Robert Frost, the composer of this famous poetry, The Road Not Taken. Robert Frost was an American poet. He was born in San Francisco, but he did not get reputation, fame, and name when he was in America. Due to some other reasons, he shifted from America to England, and there he he resides as many as 5 years. And during the 5 year, first time his book was published, and he got a reputation, right? So today we will discuss on that particular poem, and before discussing the poem, we should discuss about Robert Frost as well. People, I say Robert Frost particularly is my favorite poet. His poem really inspired me, really enticed me. So it is very I feel myself very fortunate today to discuss on a poetry that has been composed by my favorite poet. Correct. So in that particular poem, the poet has very smartly depicted, portrays the confusion and dilemma of a person when during his lifetime one gets oneself on the diversion of the path from a point where more than one path is being generated. That time really we get ourselves in confusion and dilemma, one which path is suitable, which should be followed, and which should not. This particular confusion has been sketched out with the help of this poetry. It is said that when Mr. Robert Frost was residing in England, on the same street, his one of the friend, Edward Thomas, used to reside. They were close friends, and actually where they were residing was a countryside of the London, right? So every day both friends would like to travel, would like to walk in the nearby forest. And we know very well in forest generally we get more than one way, right? So after coming from the walking, they would discuss, today we should go by this path, we should go by this path. They were discussing every day regarding their paths that they choose every day, right? So when Robert Frost again returned back to his native America, San Francisco, this idea that was he received, that was conceived in his mind during his London, uh, he composed the poem after after reaching America, San Francisco, right? We see the poem has 5 lines in each stanza. We have here five, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stanzas, 4 into 5, I mean we have 20 lines in this particular poem. Every stanza has 4 feet, so it has tetrafeet in the term of poetry, and every feet has one stressed and one unstressed syllables. So it means It has iambic tetra feet, correct? Iambic is a type of meter in which poem is written or composed, having kept in mind that it should be one stressed and one unstressed syllable in each and every feet, right? See, two roads diverged in a yellow and wood. They are the different foot of the poem, right? And the rhyming scheme of the poem is A, B, A, B in the very first stanza. In the second stanza, we have again C, D, C, C, D. In the next stanza, the poem has used in fact E, F, E, E, F, and in the last stanza again similarly G, H, D, G, H. So it is sum total the rhyming scheme of this poem, right? Again I repeat, it has tetrafit and rhythm of the poem is iambic, correct? Okay, let's start the meaning line by line of the poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could. So where it bent in the undergrowth. The very first stanza of the poem vividly indicates and hints about the confusion. Confusion of a traveler, confusion as a man who travels in his life period. Correct. The poet says that in the aloe wood he has sketched the entire world in the terms of wood. So in life is diverted in so many paths. He gets himself always in diversion in more than two paths that could be chosen from a point. And he says that it is nearly about impossible to travel on the both paths at the same time. So as a traveler, he stood on the point from the diversion is linked. He thought long. He stood long there and tried to guess the path, looked down one as far as I could, as far as his eyesight would help him to see the situation and condition of the path. He stood there and tried to see the path up to where it bends and undergrowth. Undergrowth means the plant and grasses that grow under a huge tree. So he says, my path disappeared in the near the root of a big tree. And after that, I fell to find out where the path really goes. So in the very first stanza, he says that he was on the diversion of the road, diversion of a path, and it was really impossible for a person to travel the both path at the same time. So being a traveler, he thought, he examined the path very minutely and tried to see the way as long as he can see through his naked eye, and ultimately he found that the path get disappeared under growth, right? So this is the sum total meaning of the first stanza. Let us proceed into the next one. correct? Then took the other as just as fair and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted weir. Though as for that the passing there has torn them really about the same. Now the poet has explaining and exposing the difference between the path, right? Because he was stood there for a long time to examine the actual property and character of the path. So after the examination, he got some answer. He got some conclusion. He says that then took the other as just as fair. He says that one path is very much fair. It seems that many of the person has traveled on that path and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted weir. On the other side, the other path was grassy, means very few people or no people has traveled on the particular path, right? Their grass is very, the path is very grassy and the path wanted to get weird. Though as for that he passing there, he warned them really about the same. Actually, at the very beginning, the path looks like same, but when he examined very minutely, being stood on the point of diversion, he got that the other path was very grassy and one, right? Let's proceed again. And both that morning equally lay on lips on the step and trodden black. Oh, I kept the fast for another day, yet knowing how way leads on the way. I doubted if I should ever come back. Okay, so it is our general thinking, and this has been very well and masterly depicted here. See the line. And both that morning equally lay on lips on steps and trodden black. Every day the path was equally lay in lips. Equally the tree set their lips on the path. Here the poet want to say that whatever the path may be, every day the Lord God puts equal opportunity, equal type of blessing on that path, right? So, and both that morning equally lay in lips, one step has trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. And that time, because we have more than one option, so generally what we think today, we should go on that path. And if I get any type of trouble, I will return back and travel on the another and utilize the second one. But it is really impossible. Though we think it may happens, but the reality is that it never happens. So he says that, oh, I kept the fast for another day, yet knowing how way leads on the way, I doubted I should ever come back. The poet says he has doubt that he will never come back, but consoling ourselves, every day we say that this will be utilized, this will be taken for some other day. Today I must utilize it. But in the way of life, we travel so long that it is very impossible for us to return back and then again start from the point of diversion. It is the fact. So poet says that both paths at the very beginning of the life seems have equal opportunity and equal type of thing. So one accept one another. So one accept other thinking that the next will be utilized for any other day, but it never happens. Again, We are in the final stanza. I shall be traveling with this Shah. Somewhere aces and aces hands, two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. At the end, in the end of this stanza, in fact, the poet gives the conclusion. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Sigh means the relief, the breath of relief, right? And after traveling the path, after reaching a point in a life, now I am in the position to take the breath of relief, and I have my own experience where somewhere else hands after passing ages and ages. Now I have gathered experience. I can have the breath of relax, and I am now in position to say that two road diverged in wood, and I took the one less traveled by. At the very beginning, the poet has depicted and said that there were two ways. One was traveled more, and one was traveled less because it was grassy, it seems, and another was very clear. He took the road that was less traveled. Very few people knows about the path. It was really a new path, right? And that has made all the difference. And now actually taking a new path, he was able to create a new era, able to find out a new horizon, and that's he got the name and fame in his life that made the difference. So in the last stanza, poet suggests and very boldly advocates thinks that if you choose your own path, definitely at the end you will get saw the breath of relaxation, right? And that time you will create and generate your own experience, and you will be able in position to say that actually I took the way that was less traveled. I took the way that I met myself, and got it brought in fact the difference in life in my life, right? Really it is a very touching poetry. Really it is a very inspiring poetry. I always inspired by the line, the technique of the poet Robert Frost, right? And people, I believe you have caught the meaning and hidden meaning as well of the poet, of the poem, in fact. And now I again request you, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on the video so that the next time I can bring some better video for all of you people, right? Till now, bye bye. Thanks a lot.